welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-3, that's right, with a win over the Denver Broncos in Week 5, 27-19, in what many believed was a must-win game for the Steelers. Well, they pulled it off. And not only did they pull it off, but they looked effortlessly fantastic, if that's the correct way of saying that. Effortlessly fantastic. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers looked like in this Week 5 matchup with the Denver Broncos. Ben Roethlisberger tried to do what he should be doing, but nothing more and nothing less. It was beautiful. He let Najee Harris control the game, the entire game, not just some of it, not just non-panic moments, because there were moments when Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers offense kind of put themselves up against the wall and said, hey, we really need a drive here to make sure that this game stays in our favor. And every single time when you thought, man, this is the moment where Ben can make a mistake, this is the moment when the running game could shut down or one bad sack can end everything, they handed the ball to Najee Harris 23 times for 122 yards and a touchdown. It was his first 100-yard game in an NFL or of his NFL career. Najee Harris, in my opinion, and I think in everybody else's opinion, was the player of the game in Week 5 because the Steelers offense needed that to happen. The Steelers offense was not going to get better. If we're going to be honest, the Steelers season came down to whether or not Najee Harris can play good football with a bad offensive line. And guess what? The Steelers offensive line played well enough to give Najee holes. He did exactly what he said he needed to do. That's the big thing. A lot of people put all of this on the offensive line. The offensive line's bad. Chukwuekorfor is terrible. Joe Haeg, are you kidding me? Trey Turner is washed. Kevin Dotson is a bust. Kendrick Green's a rookie. Dan Moore's a fourth-round rookie who's even worse. When it comes to running the football, Najee Harris has been saying it all season long, and he's correct. He has to be the guy to make the first move. He has to be the one to make the first defender miss. He has to be the one to find a hole, and if there is no hole, to find the opening. He did that so well against the Denver Broncos. Every time he touched the ball, he made somebody miss. Every time he touched the ball, he found a hole or he was patient enough to find a different opening to the second level. It was exactly what the running game needed because that's what this offense is. It's a bunch of guys who maybe don't have that form yet, don't have that chemistry yet. It's an offensive line that's going to be good in 2 years, but right now is a very much work in progress. It's a quarterback who is beyond his time, but is still trying to make things happen and could make things happen. But the problem is that he lost the biggest aspect of his game, and that is his mobility. So how do you win? Well, when the Steelers put all this together, they envisioned Najee Harris being the guy, always being the guy. You hand Najee Harris the ball 15 to 20 times a game. You expect him to get at least 75 yards. The Steelers could win with 75 yards from Najee Harris. That allows the passing game to open up. That allows Chase Claypool to have Von Miller on him for a 59-yard catch. Why? Because the cornerback was like, well, Najee Harris is right there, and that's the guy that they've been going to every single time. This is what the Steelers envisioned when they visioned their offense. When they put the whole thing together this offseason, Week 5 against the Denver Broncos is exactly what they saw coming. We did not see it coming. The Steelers did. On defense, Minkah Fitzpatrick was a man that needed to be stopped but could not. The Steelers defense turned it around. And honestly, a big part of it was because of Minkah. For the first time in maybe 3 or 4 games, Minkah Fitzpatrick did not allow anything over the top. He played sound, fundamental football, and man, did he lower his shoulder every single chance he got. Minkah Fitzpatrick is that guy. He's the guy that if you put him in a position to succeed, he's going to succeed because he understands this defense and he understands the opposing offense better than any single person on a football field. So don't ask him to do too much. Let him be Minkah Fitzpatrick without forcing him to be Troy Polamalu, forcing him to be something else. And then let his instincts take over because Minkah comes up to the line of scrimmage. Minkah comes up like a a bullet that just got shot out of a gun up to that line of scrimmage to stop a running back, to stop a wide receiver, to stop a screen pass, to stop whatever. He doesn't care. That's who Minkah is. That's what Minkah does very, very well. And he did that very, very well in week 5. And obviously, nothing can go unnoticed in a football game. James Pierre's struggles could go unnoticed because the man came up with a game-clinching interception when the Broncos were on the goal line, ready to just put this one, put the win on brakes, say, whoa, this is an overtime game. We came back. Yeah, they were down by 8. They needed to hit the 2-point conversion, but they didn't get a chance at any of that because James Pierre came through with a game-sealing interception, a major move for that defense, and for a guy that a lot of people had zero trust in going into the game. For a guy that a lot of people said, hey, without Cam Sutton, this defense is going to struggle, and they are going to struggle bad. Well, they didn't. They played phenomenal. And yes, James Pierre he allowed his deep pass. That happens. It is what it is. You're a young guy. You're a second-year undrafted free agent. Teams are going to pick on you, especially smart quarterbacks like Teddy Bridgewater. But he came through when he needed to come through, sealed this game, and James Pierre came out of there a winner. So here's the question. The big question. Are the Steelers back? If they are, this season is totally rejuvenated. This season has done a complete 180. The Pittsburgh Steelers are now a playoff team again. And maybe they are. But if they're not, then fans are going to be utterly disappointed in about a week or two. When they head to the Cleveland Browns on Halloween night. It's going to be spooky season for sure. But either Baker Mayfield is going to be the villain or Baker Mayfield is going to be the kid getting scared, just trying to walk up to the door and get his Halloween candy. And the Steelers, determining whether they are back or not back, will decide that. There is good news. The Steelers host the Seattle Seahawks without Russell Wilson, a pretty bad Seattle Seahawks without Russell Wilson on Sunday Night Football in Week 6. Then they head into the bye week. If they beat Seattle, they're now 3-3 heading into a break. They come back from the break. Ben gets healthy because right now he's got a pec injury. He's got a hip injury. Najee Harris is dealing with cramps. Juju Smith-Schuster might be lost for the season, which is a whole other topic of conversation and honestly one that can be pretty detrimental to the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, but that's okay because they have options. And even if you don't like moving Chase Claypool around or moving Deontay Johnson around or putting too much faith in James Washington, healthy or not, Juju Smith-Schuster can be replaced because the Pittsburgh Steelers have a boatload of options. That being said, the leadership that comes with Juju Smith-Schuster is a major loss and one that the Steelers need to find an answer for. Because Juju Smith-Schuster might be young. He might be a kid. And honestly, I'm the youngest person in a media room most times, and Juju Smith-Schuster is still younger than me. That's how you know he's still a kid. But he's a leader, and the dude knows how to play football, and he fights very hard when he is on a football field. That loss cannot be matched. But the Steelers can live on. They head into the bye week 3-3. They come back and face a Baker Mayfield offense that looks explosive. If you watched the LA Chargers Cleveland Browns game the other day, you didn't even realize defenses still played football. But honestly, one thing stood out, and that was that Justin Herbert wins football games. Baker Mayfield doesn't always win football games. And this season, more times than not, he loses football games for the Cleveland Browns. And maybe, just maybe, he's showing everybody that he's not a franchise quarterback. And those are harsh words. I get that. I don't want to be the guy that's saying Baker Mayfield isn't it. They shouldn't pay Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield isn't a starting quarterback in the NFL. I believe all of those things. I believe Baker Mayfield is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I believe he does deserve another contract, maybe not in Cleveland, but somewhere. And I believe that he deserves to be recognized as one of the good quarterbacks in the National Football League. That being said, a franchise quarterback wins you games. A good quarterback keeps you in games. Ben Roethlisberger might be 39 years old and he might be beaten to all hell. And right now, he might be limping more than he walks. It might take everything in him to get a jog going. And he's taken a brutal beating week after week. But that man is a Hall of Famer. And until he retires, he is a franchise quarterback, and you can never remove that label from him. Other teams have tried. Eli Manning is an example that has been brought up way too many times this season. Well, the Giants did this to Eli Manning. Why can't the Steelers do this to Ben Roethlisberger? Because Eli Manning is a franchise quarterback and should have been respected as a franchise quarterback until the day he left. Ben Roethlisberger is a franchise quarterback and will remain a franchise quarterback until the day he leaves. The differences between those two is that Eli Manning doesn't have a team or never had a team in his last days. Ben Roethlisberger has a team. And even if that team is just now starting to gel, it's a team that can win and has proven that it can win. That's the difference. So when it comes to Cleveland and Halloween night, spooky season, Ben Roethlisberger gets a chance to put his team not only in position to go above 500 for the first time since week 1, but also shut down the Cleveland Browns, go 1-1 in the AFC North, and honestly put this team right back in position for a playoff hunt, for an AFC North title. Baker Mayfield might not be a guy that you could trust to win that football game. Ben Roethlisberger, without a meshing offense, is not somebody that right now you could trust to do that, because right now the offense around him is pretty good. But 2 weeks ago, last week, it was terrible, and Ben was trying to do way too much. Right now, Ben might win you a game, but there's a difference between winning you an entire game and winning you a game. When it comes down to it, Ben is a guy that you could put the ball in his hands, and chances are he's going to make some plays. You put the ball in his hand, and he has the confidence, and he has the spirit, and he has the leadership and the respect and the veteran presence to lead a football team down the field in clutch situations. He's done it so many times throughout his career. The rest of the ballgame, lean on your guys, lean on your offensive line, lean on Najee Harris, lean on your defense, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, James Washington if he's healthy. But in those final minutes, the difference between a good quarterback and a franchise quarterback, even an aging franchise quarterback who still has a team around him, is very significant. And that's one that Ben can win most times. Maybe the Steelers are back. Maybe it's too early to determine any of this. But in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, by the end of October, by the beginning of Thanksgiving season, and heading into Christmas and the holidays, maybe the Steelers have a little bit of hope. Maybe it starts snowing and Pittsburgh is just still dancing their way into the playoffs. I think it's too early to tell. But right now is a good start. And the Pittsburgh Steelers getting a Week 5 win against the Denver Broncos is the best thing they can do at this point. The past is the past. Everybody loses football games. Most teams lose at least 3 football games in a season, and luckily, there's an extra one this year. They could use that to their advantage. And maybe, just maybe, the Pittsburgh Steelers show us in 3, 4, 5 weeks that they are back.